Hey folks, this is the one and only Warwolf howling out at you. Now I know you're probably saying, wait, why is this video so late? Well, I'll be honest, I decided to be a little bit lazy and decide not to do a review literally right before midnight. Which would have meant that this would have come up after midnight anyway. But folks, we are getting ready for yet another night of great wrestling reviewing. And what is that reviewing of? Rampage! Because indeed, people were on a rampage this past Saturday night. It was a special event. I think it was just because they were doing the NBA playoffs or some other thing, whatever. But how did we start out the night? Well, how about a match between two former world champions? I'm, of course, referring to Jon Moxley on one hand and the fallen angel Christopher Daniels on the other. Now, these two, great match. Both men, former champions. Of course, we know Mox, a former AEW world champion on multiple occasions, former WWE champion. Christopher Daniels, having held championships all over the world, including Ring of Honor. And, of course, over in Impact. Now, I don't think he ever actually wrestled for WWE for more than a cup of coffee, if he ever wrestled there at all. But, damn, this was some great action. This was a pretty impressive moment here. Basically, Danielson, he doesn't look like he's lost a step. Which, I mean, I haven't seen the guy wrestle since, 2020? Not since SoCal United broke up, or was it SoCal United or SoCal Uncensored? Somebody remind me about that in the comments. Now, ultimately, Danielson did lose to the sleeper here from Mox. But here was the thing that kind of surprised me. Is after he got the win, he shook Danielson's hand. Good Lord. I'm getting him and Bryan Danielson mixed up because they literally have the word Daniels in their name. But yeah, no. He shakes the Fallen Angel's hand. So, yeah. That surprised me considering where they've been going with this whole thing for the last little while. And, yeah, I don't know what the point of that was, particularly considering what will happen in just a little bit, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But, yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. Maybe it was a callback to the Code of Honor? I could be wrong there, but that could be what that was. So, next we get this promo from Jade Cargill and her lawyer, and I just don't care. I'm sorry, Jade Cargill bores me. You know, I mean, they're hyping up this match between her and Taya Valkyrie, and they're trying to go, oh, well, if Taya uses the Road to Valhalla because, you know, she's going to get disqualified and lose the match because, oh, well, Jade uses that and she wants to be the only one who uses that. Whatever. Again, I'm sorry, I just don't care. Meanwhile, somebody send Hook! Oh, wait, there he is. And he's not the only one hanging out there with him. We've got Matt and Jeff Hardy. It is amazing to see Jeff back. And honestly, I'm still kind of weirded out of the idea of he's coming off of, like, eye surgery. As somebody who's only got one eye myself, I mean, that's a nightmare scenario. But, so yeah, we got Matt, we got Jeff, we got Isaiah Cassidy, who was, of course, one half of Private Party. I can't remember the name of his tag team partner at the time of this recording. If you happen to know what it is, let me know. I'll be honest, though, I haven't really seen a lot of Private Party anyway, so I'm kind of amazed I can remember Isaiah's name, because I really haven't seen it all that often. So, we've got this big match apparently happening, which is the firm deletion match. Now, we've seen these kind of matches before. We've seen one in Impact, and we've seen another in WWE. And, Jeff talking about his return. We get a welcome back chant from the fans. Could not have put it better myself. The man, obviously is in the later stages of his career. He's been doing this for about 30 years. And he takes a lot more risks than Matt does. And I think that is probably going to come back to haunt him in his later years. I mean, not to say that Matt hasn't taken a lot of risks with his body, but good God, out of the two of them, like, I'm surprised Jeff's body is really holding itself together at all with more than spit and a prayer. But I will say this, Jeff kind of pranked everybody. He says, like, It's time for me to retire. And everybody's like, wait, what? And then the next thing he goes, from screwing up! All right, to be fair, he got us. He got us with that one. I'm like, wait, really? Because, I mean, to be fair, like, considering what I was just saying about how I'm surprised the man's body is just barely holding itself together, I mean, retirement might not be a bad idea for the guy. It really might not be a bad idea because, again, like, I am honestly surprised that Jeff can walk with the kind of insanity that he does on a regular basis. Like, I'm sorry, like, at one point, the dude literally jumped from, like, the second floor window of an arena through a table onto somebody else. It's like, dude, Jeff, it's been 30 years. We love you. Please stop trying to murder yourself. Like, I'm sorry. It's like, dude, we don't want to see this guy in a wheelchair and we don't want to see him dead, okay? Like, okay, we get it. The senton is kind of a thing. The swanton bomb, whatever you want to call it. That's fine. But please stop jumping off of things that are more than 30 feet high. So then we get an attack by the Firm. Now, of course, this isn't the entire group, but it's a good chunk of them. They ultimately get run off by the Hardys, Hook, and Isaiah Cassidy. So, yeah, I mean, that's just a whole thing. Next, I mean, we got a kind of an interesting promo here with, Keith and Dustin. They're talking about their whole thing with, Chris Jericho. But I've got to address this. Like, training to beat Goku or at least Krillin. All right, now, I don't hate Keith Lee. Keith Lee, what the fuck? Good Lord, I apologize for that one. That was on me. Anyway, Keith Lee, like, I don't hate him, but I'm not a big fan necessarily. He's just kind of there at this point. He seems more like a generic big man wrestler, although the guy can pull some stunts that I haven't seen from somebody his size and build since Big Van Vader, God rest the man's soul. And I, like, Michael Cole, I think it was either Michael Cole or Corey Graves or somebody, who used to say that Dustin Rhodes was WWE's own Benjamin Button. I'll be honest, I can kind of see it. The man's been wrestling for 50 years. And he doesn't look like he's aged a damn day. He really doesn't look like he has aged at all. And believe me, that's pretty impressive. So we know that potentially we're looking at a new feud potentially between Keith Lee, Dustin Rhodes, and the Mogul Embassy. I think that's where they're going with this. I guess they really don't have anything else to do for either of these men, so that's what they're doing with this. And they're calling it, what was the tag team name? I think I've heard them calling themselves now Naturally Limitless. I'll give them credit. For this, if nothing else. That fits. That feels like something they would come up with, considering who and what they are in terms of a tag team. You got the natural Dustin Rhodes and Limitless Keith Lee. It fits. We get Julia Hart versus Kiera Hogan. Of course, Julia Hart is a member of the House of Black. She was part of the Varsity Blondes. And come to think of it, they're like, I don't know where the hell those guys are anymore. But she's been part of the House of Black for a while. She gets into a pretty damn impressive match with Kiera Hogan. Great back and forth by both women. And, Julia wins. And then we end up with, Anna JAS comes out, basically just throwing fists with Julia. Now, that fits because, again, Julia literally sprayed her with the black mist, what was it, like 3 weeks ago? So she is still pissed about that. And, of course, we still see like this, what looks to be like mist markings under her eyes. I think we're looking at the idea of the story is like supposedly the black mist is just like lingering or whatever the hell it is. But then we get to Christopher Daniels having an interview backstage, and he starts talking about the Blackpool Combat Club and everything, and we get Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta showing up, and it looks like they're going to attack him. Here comes Mox. And he's like, no, he's cool. And he's like, and, Daniels is like, well, maybe you haven't changed that much. It looks like you still got some honor in you. And for his troubles, or rather for that comment, he gets laid out. And, yeah. He gets laid out by Mox, actually, and he goes like, we never changed. Everybody else did. So, yeah, that's a whole weird thing. Now we got an 8-man tag match. It's Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal teaming up with FTR. And who are they taking on? A group called the Varsity Athletes. Now this is... now the only two names I really recognize here are Daivari and Tony Nese. There was another guy there called... What was it? Slim J. And I don't even remember who the other guy is. But the really big moment here for me that I really thought was hilarious was just this. Like, Jarrett and Lethal start doing the Ric Flair strut, or at least their variant of it. You look behind them, FTR are doing the exact same thing. And it's kind of hilarious. Even the crowd got a kick out of it. I certainly did. During this match, we learned that Tony Khan was very pissed off at what happened with MJF getting involved in the first match of the Four Pillars tournament bracket. We learned that there's going to be some kind of a announcement from Tony Khan. Maybe we're going to get that Fatal 4-Way after all. We'll have to wait and see. As it stands right now, it's Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. And the winner of that match goes on to Double or Nothing on May the 28th to face off with MJF. Now, if Sammy wins, we have been told that he is going to lay down for MJF because he's accepted a blank check, which I have no idea what the amount was that he wrote. But, yeah, apparently MJF actually had, like, very brief second thoughts about it, but then said, okay, you're on. So, we'll see what happens there. We got a bit of drama between MJF and FTR after they won the match. And honestly, we get Mark Briscoe coming down trying to play peacemaker. Now, he is friends with Jay Lethal. He's friends with FTR. He's not a big fan of Jeff Jarrett, from what we can tell, at least storyline-wise. And I have no idea what his relationship is at this point with Sanjay Dutt or Satnam Singh. Now, he's known Sanjay Dutt on and off for years in Ring of Honor, at the very least. I don't know if he has any relationship or history with Satnam Singh outside of AEW. But that whole storyline is still developing. I'm very curious to see where it's going to go. Right now, he's not medically cleared to wrestle. We're waiting for that to actually happen. Main event time! And we get, first off, Jalistico from La Faction Ingobernables. Now, I've got to double check this. I've been meaning to do it, but I've been a lazy bastard about it. I keep thinking Jalistico is the original Mystico. Now, Mystico is kind of an interesting situation in that he had gone to WWE, somebody else took up the name, and then that Mystico came to WWE, and we had two Sin Caras for a while, and then the original Sin Cara apparently left, went back to being Mystico, and now he's Jalistico. I've got to double check if this is the case, but given the pattern on the mask, at least right around the jaw, or at least the lower face anyway, I get the feeling that is what we're looking at here. And he is obviously coming to the ring with Preston Vance. Now, this is, of course, the former number 10 of Dark Order. Then we have Jose, the assistant, in the background there. And to the immediate right of Jalistico is Roosh, otherwise known as El Toro Blanco. which I believe translates to the White Bull. Shouldn't that be La Toro Blanco, though? I don't speak Spanish, sue me. So I'm probably wrong. Anyway, who's he up against? This guy, Vikingo, the current AAA Mega Champion. And this had some great moments. We got basically a Canadian Destroyer on the apron from Vikingo to Jalisco. I'll be honest, I'm surprised neither of these men are paralyzed after this. Because again, if you've seen Lucha Libre in full swing, if you've seen these guys, down in Mexico, like, that's the kind of match that these guys had. And this is why you do see those, more crazy hyper spots in a Lucha Libre match. Because they are doing like 4 or 5 different, bits at a time per spot. So they are more fast-paced and a more high-impact, type of style. So, yeah, this was an incredible back and forth. Both men showing off their agility. I absolutely loved it. That, that flip pile driver, that Canadian Destroyer, Mexican Destroyer, whatever you want to call it, on the apron. Like, good God. Now, ultimately, we get this beautiful 630 senton. Then we get, the 1, 2, 3 shortly after. And La Faction Inger Nobles attacks after the fact. And that pretty much wrapped up Rampage. And as shows go, I thought it was great. Very little talking, mostly action. Now, I understand you do need to have the promos and everything to build your characters and your storylines. But when you really only got like an hour to really do all of that, yeah, more action, less promos. WWF Superstars knew this, so I guess they're following that particular show's pattern. Call it like it is, that's a pretty good idea. So, as far as Rampage goes, I will call this a pretty good event for what it was. Very good wrestling. The AAA Championship, I'm really curious to see if they're going to keep having that title pop up in AEW, which is fully possible. AEW, like Ring of Honor, like Impact and other promotions before it, outside of WWE, have always been willing to acknowledge other promotions and, in fact, to have matches that are significant to other promotions, in their shows. And I like the fact that they are doing stuff like this. Now, we've got the AAA title, which at one point was in the hands of Kenny Omega, who, by the way, is currently or maybe just recently former, I've got to double check this, but I believe he is still the IWGP United States champion. So they're still doing stuff with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Of course, we've got the next Forbidden Door event coming up sometime this summer. We do have, of course, AAA, as we have already mentioned. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing people coming in from maybe European promotions. Now, I haven't seen that happen yet. It's not impossible, though, especially considering that in June, I believe it's June. Anyway, I got to double check the date. But actually, is it June or is it August? Whatever. We're getting All In at Wembley Stadium. So they're going overseas. I think this is their first major overseas event. And they're doing this as a big celebration of 100 years of Warner Brothers and 100 years of Wembley Stadium. That's kind of a coup to get that. I mean, WWE has been to Wembley Stadium at least once or twice. I know that they were definitely there for SummerSlam 1992. But, I mean, when was the last time they've been back? It's been a long time. I don't even know if they've been back since 92. But for them to snag, a spot at Wembley as part of a 100-year celebration, that's pretty damned impressive, and good on Tony Khan for it. So we're now waiting to see what's going to happen. At Dynamite, we know Orange Cassidy does have a title match. He's going to be defending the International Championship. We got a video package earlier on in the night. I didn't really bother to bring it up because it just kind of seems superfluous at this point. Like, I don't know if that hand is legitimately injured or not, but they've certainly been playing it up as though it is. So could we potentially be seeing Orange Cassidy being forced to relinquish the International Championship at some point? I don't know. But it is possible that he could relinquish it. It could be possible that he might end up losing the title this coming Wednesday. We'll see what happens on Dynamite. So, folks, that is my review for Saturday Night Rampage for April the 22nd, 2023. If you liked the video, please give me a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment, tell your friends. And I'm still experimenting with the format for this place, so we're still learning the ropes, as it were, and no wrestling pun intended. Also, be ready for my first anime review, which I'm going to do sometime this coming week. Might be later today. Well, today being, of course, Sunday, April the 23rd, so you might see one later on the same day this video goes up, or you might just see it sometime later this coming week. But sometime within the next 7 days, you will see my first anime review. So, folks, this is Warwolf howling out at you. This is the latest episode review for Rampage. Again, leave me a like, leave me a subscribe, hit that notification bell, tell your friends, leave a comment, leave a question, laugh at me, I don't care. Peace!